The Watts murders, everyone's heard about it, everyone knows what happened. The gruesome story captured the worldwide media attention. How could a normal family man brutally murder his wife and children, an unborn child? After Chris Watts was arrested, revelations came out that he was having an affair with Nicole Kessenger.
Out that door to your left.
Chris Watts met Nicole Kessenger at work. She was a geologist working for the oil company, the same oil company that Chris was working for. After their affair started and he started getting feelings for Nicole, he stated that he wanted to start a new life with her. He told Nicole that he was divorced and separated from his wife. David Carter, who spent 2 stretches in Dodge Correctional Facility, Wisconsin with Watts, said that he tried to blame Kessenger for his daughter's deaths. Carter, 35, said he became close to Watts while he was in prison for theft and possession of methamphetamine in 2020. Carter claimed that when they were talking about God's forgiveness, he asked Watts what had been going through his head during the killings. Watts allegedly told Carter that Nicole had smothered the girls with the blankets and suffocated them. Watts also claimed she helped him get the girls into the oil tanks and dig the grave for Shannon. That Shannon was in the way of him starting a new life with her. Nicole Kessenger, aged 33, took on a new identity and moved away from Colorado after Watts was arrested. In the newly released police footage of an interview with Nicole shortly after the murders, Nicole goes into quite some depth on what happened, which wasn't revealed at the time. Via text message saying, "What did you do to your family?"
I just turned to the courtroom, okay? So again, this room is recorded, and video and audio. We introduced ourselves in the lobbies and earlier, so we're just going to do that again real quick. My name is Kevin Kovac. I'm with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, and we're assisting the Frederick Police Department with this case involving Chris Watts. And this is Tim Martinez, also an agent at CBI. Sir, if you just introduce yourself.
Dwayne Kessenger. I'm Nicole's father.
Dwayne, what's your birthday?
November 3rd.
Okay. Can you speak up just a little bit so the recorder, I know you're tired and you're stressed, and we won't be here any longer than we have to be. You've already had a conversation with people before. You came here on your own free will to talk to us. We picked you up at your request and brought you here. You can get up and leave at any time. You don't have to talk to us. If there's a question you don't want to answer, don't answer it. If you don't want to talk anymore, just tell me I want to leave. And I'm kind of in the way of the door, but you're not being interrogated as a criminal suspect. We're here to understand your relationship with Chris and what you know about Chris and his family, and events relating to Chris Watts. And do you know him as Chris or Christopher?
Neither one.
Okay. So the phone number that you reached him on, can you tell me what that number was?
I think I deleted that out of my phone too. I just cut him out of my life. It's a 910 number. You guys have it.
Well, we gave it to Mark yesterday.
Yeah, I probably
He'll
have it,
have
but
it.
just in case.
I don't have it
If
anymore.
I recited it to you, would you know it?
Just the first three numbers.
But you know it as a 910 number?
Yes, that's what I do know. I mean, that's what it got.
North Carolina or something.
Yeah.
That's
North
what it
Carolina.
is.
Okay. So let's just start with a timeline of your getting to know Chris, how you guys met, where you met, all those things. And let's just run. And I'm not going to ask you specific questions unless I think it's necessary. I'll let you just tell me your story. I think it's a little bit easier that way. So I just want to know how you met him, where you met him, how long you guys were dating, and those kind of things initially.
Okay. I think I met him sometime in June, probably early June. It might have been May. It was just talking at work. It was pretty casual. And he didn't have a wedding ring on his finger. And every time I talked to him, he didn't tell me that he was in a relationship. He didn't even mention his kids right away either. And then one day he told me that he had 2 kids. I was like, that's pretty cool. And started telling me about his kids.
That sounded like a sarcastic comment.
No, I thought it was kind of cute. I was like, oh, he's a dad. It was right around Father's Day too. So whenever that is in June.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm not good with holidays.
He told me he had kids, and then it was Father's Day shortly after
Okay.
that. So that's what I do know. And I was like, I thought it was cute. And then he's telling me about him. He's pretty excited about him. And then he mentioned that he did have a significant other. And then he told me that those two were in the process of a separation.
Did he mention the children's name or his significant other's name?
I didn't know his significant other's name for a while. And then I think he told me his kids' names pretty quick, but to be honest with you, on an exact date of when that happened, I don't know.
So in May and June, first of all, where do you work?
I work at Anadarko Petroleum Corporation. I'm contracted to Anadarko Petroleum Corporation.
Okay, and you work out of an office setting where?
In Platteville, Colorado.
Okay. And Chris also works out of that location, per
Yes.
se?
Yes. He's in the field, but he comes into the office with his team.
So you work, what is your job responsibility?
I do health, safety, and environment.
Okay, so you work in the office and you take care of health safety for, Anadarko is an oil and gas company, right?
Yes.
So you're doing health safety in the office and Chris works in the field
Yes.
as a, what kind of job does he do?
He's an operator, so I don't know all of his daily duties, but he's a field operator, so he works with the oil wells.
So he goes out and does work on those, whatever
Yes.
that work might be. But he comes into the office frequent.
In the
or-
mornings, his team meets in the mornings. They're not all in there every day. Some days some of them are in there, some days other ones are in there, but in the mornings typically from 6:15 to probably 7, somewhere around there.
And is that where you met Chris?
Yes.
Okay. So can you just take us through kind of a little bit of the early part of how he courted you or you courted him? I don't know which one happened. How you guys got to know each other.
I guess we just started talking. He actually, so part of my job is to manage the gas monitors that we have. So Anadarko requires all of their field personnel to carry gas monitor sensors for toxic gases, and it's my job to control the inventory and issues, anything like that. And so he talked to me a couple times via his work phone, and I was like, no, like it was still very like friendly conversation. But then when I realized like this man is interested in me, I'm interested in him, this is personal, so we got away from the Anadarko thing because I really don't want those guys affiliated with any of this. And
So you have a work phone that's specifically,
no, I have one phone that I do both on. He has 2 phones.
okay, so he had your phone, the 720-656.
That's the only number that I roll with all the time.
Okay.
So he has 2 phones.
All right. One of those owned by Anadarko and
Yes,
one
sir.
personal.
Yes, sir.
Do you know what his Anadarko phone number was? Okay.
It's been so long, and I mean, I'm sure I could like look it up, but I tried to look it up for those guys yesterday, and I couldn't find it.
Okay.
Um,
We can find it. That's okay. Just wondering if you knew it.
But at that point, we just like took it to his phone because I just felt it was like better that way. And we just continued to talk, and then
Let me go back to the park. Where's the park?
it's like down the street from my house. It's called East Lake Number 3.
Your house
Yes.
in Northglen?
Yes.
And that was in the June timeframe.
Yeah, or like the beginning of July. It was like right around my birthday. It's like so sometime at the very end of June or the beginning of July.
Okay. And that's the first meeting you had outside of work.
Yeah.
Basic conversation for a first date?
I mean, we kept it pretty simple, I guess, you know. I don't even remember everything we talked about. We
Sure.
were there for a few hours.
Understand so if I ask about conversation, what I'm looking for, was he talking about his family during any of these meetings? Those are the kind of, I understand, whatever you guys were talking about, relationship, your life, your interests, those things, we don't need to know that. What I'm interested in is knowing is when he brings up his children, when he brings up his wife, when he brings up financial information, when he brings up his home, when he brings up anything that may have been, and it's been a few days, so you've had a chance to reflect on some articles that you may have read, and you know, unfortunately, that you're in a situation where somebody has been murdered. And that information, when you look backwards in your memory with the conversations with Chris, anything that he might have said that would be relative to that, and I'm not just, even if one day he was mad and he said, I want to do this or do that, anything like that, if he ever made any kind of statements that you were like, whoa, that was weird, or why would he say that, or why did he mention that? Do you understand what I'm looking for?
No, I completely understand. I just feel like some of this happened so long ago that I can't tell you like the exact words of the exact conversation at the exact time and
Sure.
place, because it's like we had a lot of conversations. I mean, we talked every single day. So it's
So if there's
like
a-
I'm trying to help you guys with the stuff like the stuff that's more current. I can give you guys a lot more like detail and exact times. But when you're asking me about something that happened 6 weeks ago and exactly what was said, it's like, I mean, I'm sure I can give you a general idea, but to be honest with you, like to pinpoint exact words, it's not going to happen.
I'm not looking for exact words, just more, let's say 6 weeks ago he said something that triggered with you last night. That's what I'd be looking for. Or something 4 weeks ago. And if you don't remember where it was or the specific words, that doesn't matter. Just he said something that was off the wall, or he said this or he said that, that has caused you a moment to pause and you go, wow, I wonder why he said that. Now knowing what you know today. Do you understand where I'm going with that?
I completely understand. And to be honest with you, I mean, there were several discussions that we had about his current relationship and where it had gone and what it had caused. And he talked about his kids from time to time. But the thing is he was never hostile. It was never anything aggressive. Like even when he spoke of his wife and the fact that they were separating, it was never like ill. It was still very kind. It was just like, this is not working, and would explain why, but it wasn't anything out of the ordinary or anything that I think would scare me. And to this day, even after everything that I found out, I still look back at that and I don't see any red lights with the way that he spoke of his family.
Now it's important to mention that Nicole wasn't convicted of any involvement in the Watts murders whatsoever, but the affair was a factor in all this.
For me, it was like, I really wanted them to fix it. I would have just left the situation.
So tell me why Shanann calling a realtor and him mentioning that they were going to be divorced. Why do you think it's important?
Because, so after that, he was like, she's the one who called the realtor. And I remember, I was like, damn, that was fast. Because I knew he told me, like, we were going to put the house up, but they said, he was like, we didn't know how much to offer for it, and we were kind of trying to find somebody. And so for the first few weeks that I hung out with him, he kind of, like, dragged his feet on, hey, this is happening. And then after North Carolina, he's like, yeah, she wants to put the house up. She's the one that called the realtor. And I was, like, kind of taken back, not necessarily at the speed of it, given how long he said that they'd been separating, but the fact that she did it, like, the day after he supposedly sat down and had a conversation with her about, hey, do we fix this or do we not fix this relationship?
So do you remember how many days she was back in Colorado before leaving? Do you know that?
Because I don't remember when they got home.
Right.
I don't.
I'm just trying to get your memory jogged there on that. But so this was, they get home, he had told you in North Carolina that they agreed to it. And they're finalized their relationship.
Yeah.
They get home and she immediately wants to sell the house.
Yes. And then, so, I mean, I started thinking, okay, well, I know in Colorado houses sell very fast here. So I was like, what's your plan? And I was like, because you might want to be prepared. And I remember that's when the whole concept came up of, you probably need to start looking for a new place pretty quick. And that was when he was kind of overwhelmed with it. And I told him, I was like, look, like, I just moved a few months ago. And I was like, to find a place that was comfortable for me, it was like, it took like a lot of research. And that's when I offered to help. I was like, I'll help you. And he seemed
Tech guy's coming to help us.
I would do it myself, but it's like there's so many different, no, I haven't used this phone in years.
Okay.
Like right now,
So it's not very new?
This is old.
Okay.
I haven't used this since like 2016. And so all these numbers on here are numbers of people I've gotten since then. What I don't want with like the media and all this other stuff going on is have a phone just full of unknown contacts.
Sure, I get it.
Like,
So he's gonna come over and turn your Wi-Fi on and figure out how to move.
all of that.
He knows
Okay, I'll just
about
let him
this.
do that. I give up.
Okay. So your phone this time, do you have any objections to us looking at everything in your phone?
Why do you even need that? I'm just curious. Like, why do you need everything as opposed to just stuff
So when-
being there?
Well, because it's easier to get it. And if we're looking at all the material, let's say I take everything off your phone, I can put a date in, like let's say August 10th through the 15th, because those are critical days. But other conversations between you and Chris, or other text messages between you and Chris from June or July, then it makes it harder for me to find all those. Do you understand what I mean? It's easier
Well,
for them
it's
to
the same
just
phone
take
number,
everything. I don't know. Are they?
Yeah, I mean, except for when I first met him, and it was a big PC thing.
Okay. And then what about your phone log? It's always his 9M0
It's the same
number.
all the time.
Right.
Like, it's
And,
always that one, or originally was it?
We talked about your GPS locating, like knowing where your phone is
Yeah.
at certain
I mean,
times.
you guys can have all that. I just was like, oh my god, I have so many texts on here between me and all my friends. I'm like, do they really want all this stuff?
Well, is there anything in those texts that you'd be concerned with?
Not really.
So, well, not really, or yes or no?
No, I mean, like, the other day, my dad and I just had to do some damage control because a lot of people were like, hey, please call me, I don't know what to say. And I just told them all, like, I didn't say anything. I pretty much just said, if mediators contact you, tell them no comment. Like, please be nice to them. Like, you do not need to talk to them. It was like, I'm safe, I'm not in trouble, I've been breaking laws. And I was just like, just send your love and support. And that was all I said to people.
So did that prompt all the phone calls of people going,
No.
are you okay?
They were prompting me.
All right. And
That
that's
is
when
why I did that, because I didn't even want to like say that, but I was getting all sorts of texts from people that were like, media's trying to contact me, I don't know what to do. I didn't tell them that I was a witness, I didn't tell them anything about that. It was just like, just say no comment, I need you to do this.
Okay.
And then a couple of my like super close friends, I asked them if they would be courteous enough to take all the pictures that we had of each other off Facebook and social media, and they said yes, and that was like a couple of really close friends.
Is there any text messages between you and friends that reference anything that would be concerning regarding this case?
No.
Like talking about Chris? I think you've told me that you've never even really talked with.
My friends about him. No, and like my friend's dad died last night, like yesterday.
I'm not worried about that.
No, I know, but she started like, oh my god, she was really drunk last night. She started like freaking out. She's like, I don't know what's going on in your life. She's like, I don't know if it pertains to this case. And she like just sent me like a screenshot of a news article of that case, and she was just like, she's like,
What about conversations? Remember
I didn't mention that it had anything to do with that. She's like, I don't know if that's what it is. He works in Anadarko. She's like, I really don't give a shit. She's like, I just really need you to be here with me and my dad and this and this and this. And she was just kind of upset because I had asked her to please say no comment to the media, and it happened to be like right when her dad died, and I think she was feeling a little like, yeah, but I mean, you guys can read this. There's nothing in there of me actually saying anything about it. I just told
What's
her
your phone number on that phone?
720. It's the same phone number that's on this one.
Okay.
656-9605. So no, I mean, you guys can look
So
at this.
there was a conversation that I asked you about between you and Charlotte too.
That's the same girl.
That same girl who was freaking out.
Yeah.
So was there ever a conversation about kids with you and Charlotte? Like you, I can't remember the exact context, but you
I
guys
told
were
her I was
talking.
hanging out with a guy who had kids.
Okay. And what?
She has not even like put.
Wait, all right.
any
So
of
your
that.
conversation about him having kids, how did that go?
I mean, I don't know. I just told her.
Is it still? Did you delete that, or is it still in
No,
there?
I don't know. I have no reason to delete anything else on my phone. And the
Okay.
reason I deleted all this stuff with Chris is because he was making me feel really uncomfortable, and I didn't want to see it in my phone anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, let me scroll all the way back here. We're in the scroll talk a lot. No, she's like,
So let's just, while we're here, because we talked about this before, but we didn't talk about the specific context of what that message said regarding to children. So obviously, in the situation that we're looking at now with the death of 2 children and all the other circumstantial stuff going around in the case, I just want to make sure there was no comments ever made by you regarding, children or dislike of children or love of children, either way. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, I guess. Let me find it. I think this is where this starts. You guys can just take whatever you want out of there.
So it's easier for me to just take everything than it is
I
to
know,
single it
I
out.
know,
Plus,
I know.
for the purposes of this case, the less exposure, we already have, initially you drew concern from me when you told me you deleted everything from Chris. I've already told you that. You understand why. There's no question as to why that might cause concern. So if there's anything else that ever comes up, I have it, and then we can just discuss it. Do you understand what I mean? All right.
It's right here. This is where it starts. She starts right there. She starts talking about her and her fiance. So that was like weeks ago. And she hasn't brought it up since really, or like connected the dots, or like said shit. I mean, you guys can look through all those texts. And I don't know when that was. That was definitely when things were going good. So this is like weeks prior, I'm just assuming. I think the date is at the top of whenever we started texting that day.
Looks, this is
We talk a lot.
August 7th.
Yes.
So I reference everything to Sunday the 12th.
So that's the only conversation like that on there, I believe, on my phone. I don't think there's like anything else. And she even last night, like, still wasn't even, she's so weird to work. Other than that, there shouldn't really be anything on with other people. But you guys can just pull everything off that phone if you
As long
want.
as you're okay with that, that's would be
I mean,
my
if that
preference.
makes your life easier.
It's not just about making it easier, it's just less. So if there's any question, like I told you before, like the 2 girls you just met did a lot of interviews in this case. They've done a lot of work. They may know things that I don't. There's no way we can all know everything. So they might go, oh, because somebody else was the one who told me about Charlotte and this message. So I've never
Well,
read
that's probably
this.
why.
Potentially,
I'm assuming that that's
Yeah.
what that is. Because I said his name. And I don't even think she's put 2 and 2 together. Because last night, it was just like the way she was talking. She wasn't like, this is him, this is it. She was like, I don't know what's going on. I just assume this is it because this guy looked in a Darko, but she is not even like processing.
Before Chris Watts brutally murdered his family, he sent Shannon a photo of a doll covered with a blanket, in which she replied, "I don't know what to think about this." Police records show various communications between Watts and Kessenger just before the murders, revealing their intimate affair with each other. In the records, it states that Watts may have secret communication with Kessenger that they did not know about. Nicole told the police that she had texted Chris to say, "If you've done something bad, you're going to ruin our lives." It's not entirely clear whether Watts is still in contact with Nicole Kessenger, but she's taken on a new identity and a new life. Whatever secrets she may know, she's not saying. Maybe she never knew what was going to unfold. There's been quite a lot of speculation about the couple. Maybe the tragedy could have been prevented had people known what was going on. Maybe Kessenger knew something was off. Maybe she should have told the police. Who knows? But it's going to remain a mystery for now.